What have I told you? That inequality is not an accident. That the richest people getting richer isn't because they're smarter, harder working, or more innovative, but because the system is designed that way. One man proved this with data. Spanning 300 years, his name is Thomas Piketty. And what he discovered shook economists, governments, and billionaires around the world. Who is Thomas Piketty? Thomas Piketty is not a politician. He is not a motivational speaker. He is not a YouTube guru. He is a French economist, a professor at the Paris School of Economics, and one of the most influential scholars of our time. But what made him famous wasn't opinions. It was evidence, the question that changed everything. Piketty asked a simple but dangerous question. Why does wealth always end up in the hands of a few? To answer this, he didn't look at one country. He didn't study one decade. He analyzed tax records, income data, inheritance records from France, the United States, the UK, Germany, and many other countries, going back as far as the 18th century. No economist had ever done this before. The shocking pattern he found, what Piketty discovered, was terrifyingly consistent. Across centuries, across wars, across revolutions, wealth naturally concentrates at the top. Not slowly, not accidentally, but inevitably, unless something powerful stops it. The core idea, RG. This is the formula that made Thomas Piketty famous. It looks simple, but it explains almost everything. R equals return on capital. G equals economic growth. What does this mean in real life? If returns on wealth grow faster than wages and the economy, the rich will always pull further ahead. And history shows they always do. Why hard work is not enough. Piketty proved something uncomfortable. Most wealth is not created by work. It is created by ownership. If you own land, property, stocks, companies, your money grows automatically. Meanwhile, workers depend on salaries that grow slowly, if at all. This is why inequality keeps rising, even in successful economies. The silent weapon. One of Piketty's most dangerous findings was about inheritance. Over time, inherited wealth becomes more important than earned wealth. Being born rich matters more than talent. Family background matters more than intelligence. Society slowly turns into a modern aristocracy. Different faces, same power structure. Capitalism's hidden tendencies. Piketty never said capitalism is evil, but he exposed its natural tendency. Without regulation, capitalism does not reward effort fairly. It rewards existing wealth. And the longer the system runs, the worse inequality becomes. Why this matters to you? You might think, I'm not rich. I'm not an economist. Why should I care? Because inequality doesn't just affect money. It affects democracy, opportunity, social mobility, political power. When wealth concentrates, power concentrates. And when power concentrates, systems. Inequality is capitalism's default setting. But here's the mystery. If inequality is so natural, why did it shrink dramatically in the mid-20th century? And why did it return, faster and more aggressive, after 1980? Thomas Piketty had the answer. Between World War I and the 1970s, something extraordinary happened. For the first time in modern history, wealth inequality fell. The middle class expanded. Wages rose with productivity. Piketty called this period an exception, not a rule. So what caused it? Not kindness, not fairness, and not free markets. 2 world wars and the Great Depression destroyed massive fortunes. Property was bombed, capital was wiped out, inflation erased debts, stock markets collapsed. Large concentrations of wealth simply did not survive. Inequality didn't fall peacefully. It fell violently. After the wars, governments did something radical. They taxed the rich heavily. In the United States, top income tax rates exceeded 90 and inheritance taxes were high. Corporate taxes were strong. Europe followed similar paths. For decades, high taxes prevented wealth from reconcentrating. This is a fact, not an opinion. From the 1940s to the 19th, that is, wages grew with productivity, unions were powerful, education expanded, public infrastructure exploded. Economic growth, G, was strong, and returns on capital, R, were controlled. For a brief moment in history, R was not greater than G. Then came the turning point, 1980. Around 1980, everything changed. In the US and UK, Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher led a massive ideological shift. Taxes were cut, unions were weakened, financial markets were deregulated. The message was simple: let capital flow freely, capital unleashed. Once regulations disappeared, wealth began growing faster than wages. Top incomes exploded, inherited wealth returned. The formula RG came back with full force, and this time, globalization made it even stronger. Money could now move instantly, across borders, tax havens, and financial systems. The illusion of meritocracy. Governments told people, if you're struggling, work harder. But Piketty's data showed the opposite. Productivity kept rising, corporate profits surged, CEO pay skyrocketed. But wages, they stagnated. This wasn't failure. It was policy, the rise of the new elite. By the 2000s, the top 1% captured most wealth growth. The top 0.1% dominated politics. Billionaires shaped laws and media. Piketty warned, modern societies were slowly becoming patrimonial capitalism, a system where wealth is inherited, not earned. Why inequality is now harder to stop. Today's inequality is more dangerous than before because capital is. Global governments compete to lower taxes. Rich individuals influence politics directly. National solutions are weaker. Global inequality is stronger. By now, the picture is clear. Inequality is not a bug. It is a feature. So the real question is not why inequality exists, but whether it can be stopped without collapse, war, or revolution. Thomas Piketty believed it could, but only if societies were willing to confront power. Piketty's most radical proposal. Piketty's solution shocked the world. A progressive global tax on wealth, not income, not consumption. Wealth itself. Why? Because wealth, once accumulated, grows automatically and escapes normal taxation. How a wealth tax would work. Piketty proposed low taxes on small fortunes, higher taxes on millionaires, very high taxes on billionaires, not to punish success, but to prevent permanent domination. The goal was simple: slow down, restore balance with G without destroying markets. Why income taxes are no longer enough. In the modern economy, the rich earn less from salaries, more from capital gains, stocks, and assets. These are often lightly taxed, hidden offshore, protected by loopholes. Piketty argued, taxing work while protecting wealth guarantees inequality. The transparency revolution. One of Piketty's strongest points was transparency. He believed you cannot tax what you cannot see. Global wealth registries, financial disclosure, and data sharing between countries were essential, not for control, but for democracy. The backlash was immediate. Critics called Piketty unrealistic, dangerous, anti-capitalist. But the data remained undefeated. The people benefiting from inequality were the same people funding opposition to reform. Why democracy is at a risk. Extreme inequality doesn't just distort markets. It distorts politics, money influences elections, wealth shapes legislation, elites write rules for themselves. Piketty warned, if inequality keeps rising, democracy becomes an illusion. Education is not a magic fix. Another myth Piketty destroyed. Education alone will solve inequality. Education helps, but it cannot compete with inherited capital. A well-educated worker cannot outrun a trust fund. The crime humanity faced. Piketty believed history offered only two paths. 1. Peaceful redistribution through democratic policy. 2. Violent redistribution through crisis and collapse. There is no third option. The question is not economics. It is political will. Technology is accelerating wealth concentration. AI, automation, and finance amplify returns on capital. Without intervention, inequality will grow faster than ever, social trust will collapse, power will harden into inheritance. The future is being decided now. Thomas Piketty didn't give the world comfort. He gave it clarity. Inequality is a choice, a political choice, and so is stopping it. I hope you all have understood. To know such hidden history, like, comment, and also subscribe.
We're sorry.